the 5 things that are four things. Wait, was it 5 or is it 4? Okay, there are 5, but there are 4 that I'm going to talk about today. Let's just cut that whole part out. Hello my beautiful blossoms, welcome to my channel. We are back with actual makeup tutorial. You've been asking and I have delivered. So today we're going to talk about the 4 steps on how to put on your foundation. And what are those steps? Well, glad you asked. The first step is to make sure that you moisturize and you make sure that you exfoliate your skin. Step number 2, make sure that you get the right foundation. Sometimes you need more than one to mix them together. Step number 3, what tools do you need to apply that foundation when you may want to consider a beauty blender or a beauty sponge or a brush. I'm going to talk about which one is better, how to use each one, what kind of finish we would get. And the 4th one is powder. How do we apply powder? Do we need powder? Is it loose powder? Is it compact? Do we sit in? Do we bake? We do not bake. Oops, gave away the end. No, but there's still a lot of surprises. Stay tuned. Make sure that you watch the video from the beginning till the end to learn all the tricks and all the tips that I have for you. I'm sure you're going to really enjoy them. And this is the finished look that I had created. I am not going to drag you through all of the makeup steps. I am just talking about the application of the foundation. And I think it came out pretty darn good. I do not have a lot. I'm just looking in the mirror, sorry. I don't see any lines, any creasing. I did set my under eye a little bit, and generally I enjoy making and creating this look. So if you enjoy talking about makeup, art, entrepreneurship, and just creativity in general, I strongly suggest that you hit the like button and subscribe and do the notification bell so that you can be notified when I do new videos. And without any further ado, here is the video about how to apply your foundation. Enjoy! Hello! So today I am going to talk about the ways that I put on foundation. I know it's been done 1,000 times before, but I have a unique spin and an artistic eye, and hopefully you can use some of the suggestions. I have a lot of videos that I have searched. Once you're over 40, which I may be, we all hear that your skin may mature, and it is something that affects how your skin behaves and what kind of makeup you can use. Something that has a little bit more of a heavier feel may not be so good, you hear. And I'm going to tell you why that is actually true. So first, let me just tell you that we are going to talk about 4 things that I found to be important. Now let me talk about the kind of skin I have, which is super important on what you're going to choose and how you're going to apply the foundation. I have dry skin. It is flaky around my nose and down on my chin and sometimes on my cheeks too. And I have to make sure that I exfoliate and moisturize. So my skin is dry. My skin is neutral with leaning to the cooler side. So I choose my foundation that has somewhat pink or neutral undertones, but I generally go a little bit more with the pink. And that is the kind of skin that I have. So it's not the easiest to apply and to wear foundation. So let's begin with exfoliating. Before you put on your makeup, wash your face with warm water, closer to the cooler side. I generally don't recommend washing your face with warm water. It makes me red. And then I just exfoliate. I have a nice silicone brush that I just do all of my T-zones and all the places that I know I get dead skin. Then I apply a moisturizer. I love certain moisturizers, but I particularly like these 2, which are also primers. So I have this Bobbi Brown moisturizer and primer, and we will focus, yes we will, any minute now, because you know, professional YouTuber here, dude. Okay, you know what, I just give up. I will link the link to this primer / moisturizer. It's very light, it doesn't smell, very strong, it has a pleasant smell. The other one I really enjoy is the Glossier. It's also primer and moisturizer in one. And if you're hearing whistling, it's because my radiator is once again telling me that it is cold in here. That's all right. Those are the 2 primers that I like that are really moisturizing. The other 2 primers that I enjoy, if I really want to fill in those pores, is the e.l.f. poreless putty. And once again, this stuff is inexpensive. You can get it at the drugstore or in Ulta. It looks kind of like this. It's putty and it's pretty light. And also I enjoy using this primer, which is Smashbox Photo Finish. Now this primer is a little bit more silicone-y. So silicone primers will fill in your pores. If you have pores, and I do have some on my cheeks, specifically some on my forehead, a couple of hot marks when I picked on my chicken pox that I got when I was in my early 20s, because I just started teaching at that time and apparently hadn't had chicken pox. So I have a couple of marks. I don't know if you can see. I found out my camera is 4K. Who knew? So now I'm a little scared and keeping you at a distance. No, I'm just kidding. So it is very important to prime if you want a really smooth sort of finish. Cleanse, exfoliate, moisturize, prime. Now, after you prime, you are going to want to have your foundation ready. Now, I know there's so many foundations out there, and I've tried many. I will share the ones that worked for me. What I have found is there is no perfect match for anybody's skin tone. Again, this is just my opinion. I always found that my skin color, like, it varies depending on how much I'm outside. Did I forget to put my sunblock on that day and affecting the way my skin looked? What I have found for myself is I use a mixing tray for nail polish. I will link the shop below, but what I use this for myself is I mix my foundation. I find that if I can get a good match for my wrists, generally it is a good day. So let me show you what I use and how I mix them. For a day look, personally, I do not like a lot of makeup. I do not enjoy, kind of feel the foundation on my skin, if you know what I mean, because I really don't have a lot of blemishes or marks on my skin. I usually just put on foundation in order to even my skin tone out and to hide those little holes in my face that are called enlarged pores. So what I do is I use these two, people say ride and die, so I guess we can do that. The Clinique Even Better Makeup, and it is, let me see if the other one is a little cleaner. Again, and I have two. I have them in different colors. I have one shade lighter, one shade darker. I'll link them below. This one is CN18 and this one is CN10, and I mix them together to form the color that works for me. Then I generally am happy with using some of the BB creams. I'm not terribly fond of them, but these I actually found to be really good. Again, I have a shade darker and a shade lighter, and these were recommended to me by Robert Welsh. He has a really fun, outgoing personality, and he is an MUA by profession, offers great tutorials. I will link him below as well. He is a big inspiration for this channel. Love him. And I use those two for my sort of light coverage. Now, when I want a little bit of extra coverage, I will go to Shiseido. Again, I have two, one for when I'm darker during the summertime, and one when I am a little bit more fair. And those, again, I mix together. Now I have two other favorites that I really enjoy. I like Smashbox, and I enjoy the fact that it is a hydrating foundation. Even though my skin is dry, I have to be careful using anything that has oils in it, because I will break out. I'll get these like underground zits that just hurt when you touch them, and they're not terribly visible, but then your skin kind of looks bumpy. So I will get those. So I have to be careful with what kind of products I use. Most of everything that I use is oil-free and has some kind of a broad SPF, because you do want protection on your skin. I use SPF under my makeup anyway, but this is just an additional little step. And now lately I have been experimenting with Pat McGrath, and I do enjoy this foundation, even though that's the one that in my previous videos I looked a little yellow. I don't have another one for it to just mix them together, so I might have to do that, of course, to get the perfect tone. So that is the different foundations and why you should pick the one that works for you. Look for coverage. Some of them are dewy. Now, I personally enjoy the dewy look because I think for me, it looks youthful and fun. I don't particularly like matte foundations and matte looks because I feel that it dries my skin out. It makes me look cakey, and I generally just don't enjoy that look. I know that many people say that you can have a matte look. Once you have a matte finish, you can always do it up with either a setting spray or a highlighter, and that is totally true. So you really have to kind of play around and see what you like or what looks good on your skin, but this is what I enjoy. And I still put on highlighter, even though I use dewy foundations, because your girl likes to shine outside and inside. But anyway, after I have my foundation and I have it mixed, what I do is figure out, how do I want to apply it? What kind of a look am I going for? Do I want a kind of a light, going out pretending like I have no makeup on makeup? Or do I want to have a bit more of a fuller coverage that I really cover up all of my imperfections? And then you go and you say, okay, do I use a beauty sponge? Do I use a beauty sponge or do I use a brush? And what is the difference? Well, that is a very good question, my friend. Let me tell you what I think. So beauty blenders, this is not the beauty blender. Beauty blender is actually a brand. These are just beauty sponges. Fun fact, have to make sure that it's wet. I've been using a beauty blender for about, I think, 6 months, years ago, before I realized it has to get wet. Okay. So make sure your beauty blender or your beauty sponge is moist. You put it under the sink, you wring it out as much as you can. I even roll it around on a paper towel to make sure that it is not full of water. So beauty blender is one way to apply your foundation. Another way is, of course, to have a brush. These are called kabuki brushes. They have shorter bristles. The bristles don't bend. And you have to make sure that when you get a liquid makeup brush that it is synthetic. I know there is real hair and synthetic hair out there, and the reason you want a synthetic haired brush is because it does not hold on to product. Anything that has natural hair on a brush is going to suck up the product because they have pores, right? Just like our hair. So you don't want that. You want your brush to be synthetic. Now, if you are applying eye makeup, as far as powders, you may want to get a natural hair brush, but again, that is up to you. I usually use synthetic brush products. So those are the two. And then the third one, of course, you can just use your fingers, right? And the reason that your fingers is a good thing to use is because your fingers are already warm. Now, it's very important when you're applying liquid product that they are warmed up. And that is why a lot of times you'll see people recommend putting them on the back of your palm and then kind of mixing it there, because your skin warms up the product. And when the product is warm, it is going to melt into your skin. You hear a lot of beauty gurus talk about products melting. That is what they mean. It kind of melts into your skin, and it is not as difficult to blend in and to make it look like it is your skin indeed. So very important as far as using your fingers, make sure that your fingers are clean, obviously. And I generally, when I put my foundation, I use this. I'll take this little metal thing in the wintertime, put it on my radiator, and warms up a little bit, and then I can put my foundation on it and it's already nice and warm. And as far as application with the sponge, why would you use a sponge when you're applying your foundation? Well, you would use a sponge because sponge provides a much lighter application to your skin. It is going to absorb a lot of product though, so keep that in mind. When you're using a sponge, it will absorb a lot of product and will distribute it all over your skin, and you want to bounce it. I'll show you in a minute how to apply it with both tools. You want to bounce the moist sponge all over your face. You want to push in that product. Same with the brush. You want to apply your foundation. You want to stipple. You want to push in the product into your skin, because what you want is you want it to blend and to melt. You don't want it to sit outside. You don't want it to be visible and shift. You never use a brush that looks like this. You never just kind of brush on your foundation like you're frosting a cake. It's just going to move it around all over your face. It's not going to look nice. It's going to be streaky. So you want to push in the product into your pores. Now, I know some of you are gonna say like, I don't wanna push anything into my pores. I'll break out, it's gonna get ugly. And to that I say, my friend, make sure you double cleanse at night. So if you double cleanse at night and you get all of that makeup off, you will not have any issues with breakouts, because if you pick the right products that work for your skin, that are not going to inflame your pores, that are not going to cause acne, that are not going to irritate your skin in general, having and pushing that product into your pores is not going to make them dirty. It's not going to enlarge them. It's not going to do any of that stuff. Key is double cleanse. Okay, last, setting your face. Now, me personally, I don't apply a lot of powders. The reason for that is I look like the desert. I have little patchy things on my skin, even if I do take all the dead skin off by prepping my skin before I apply it. I don't know. It's dry, man. It's not happy. I do a very light dusting of powder to set my under eye, again, very lightly after I use a concealer. I'm gonna do a different video on concealer because, you know, I can talk forever and it just gets too long. And if you need to play this at double speed, please do. That's totally fine as long as you watch from the beginning all the way to the end. Let the YouTubes know that you're enjoying this video so you can push it out to others. I would certainly appreciate it. Let me show you the powders that I really like. Powders don't have to be expensive. This was recommended to me by Goss. Love him, love his face, love the way he teaches. So let me show you the powders that he recommended. And I tried them and I love them and they're not expensive. So I'm gonna show you two powders. One powder is a loose powder and it is translucent. It has no color. It just literally just sets your skin. Your skin is gonna look exactly the color that your foundation was looking at. And this is RCMA powder. It is great. I shake a little bit. It looks like a little salt shaker. Yep, it looks like a little salt shaker. I shake a little bit. I usually hate these kinds of dispensers because I feel like I have product everywhere, but I actually have a little bowl and I literally just put a little bit of powder in there and I, again, stipple it in. I push it into my skin, but very, very lightly. I cover it lightly and then push it into my skin. And then my other favorite powder is, where'd you go? Oh. I have too much stuff. I have to get organized. So I really enjoy using this Stila powder. I know not a lot of people are talking about this company anymore, and this guy just fell out. We'll pretend that didn't happen. So it comes out because the little cabinkle has dried up, or I've never properly applied the little cabinkle. So here we go. So this is the powder. I've used it and apparently it has fallen before. Mila. So I use that as my setting powder just to take with me. The bottom opens up and there's a little sponge underneath and you can use that if you want. I generally don't use those kinds of sponges, but whatever ski. So those are super important and this is what I use and these are my steps and these are my recommendations for how to put on your foundation. So I am going to do that. I'm actually going out to see my friend today, so I'm super excited because I'm leaving the house besides walking a dog and getting iced coffee and Dunkin' Donuts. So I am going to apply my foundation right now. You guys can just watch and I'll probably just chat because, you know, I have verbal diarrhea. What can I tell you? I've just been stuck home for so long. So I am going to show you how I apply everything that I just spoke about. I'm going to use the e.l.f., which I really like. They are awesome. And just, I use my finger. I apply a little bit of this to my cheeks, where I have kind of enlarged pores, and then I have this giant crater here because I picked off my chicken pop. And then a little bit on my chin. I don't apply this to my whole face. I just sometimes feel like it's a little bit too much and my skin doesn't breathe as well. So I will just apply it to these areas. Maybe just to my nose as well. Let's not, okay, I have dry skin on my nose. When I tell you I have dry skin, I am not joking. So excuse me 1 second as I flake off a big giant dead skin flake. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so we did that. And I just kind of push it into my skin. Just, I guess it's the T-zone, isn't it? But this is where my most problematic areas are. Feels really light on your skin. It's very affordable and I really enjoy using it. But I did moisturize beforehand. I already told you, it's super duper important. So now we are going to apply the foundation. I'm gonna mix Clinique Even Better Makeup Broad Spectrum SPF 15 Evens and Corrects. So I'm gonna put a little bit, now because I've been blabbing, of course, my little heart has gotten cold, and I don't mean the real heart, my little foundation heart is no longer warm from the radiator. And I'm gonna put another little dot of the darker. I'll just show you what it looks like. I don't know if you'll be able to get the color, probably not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush. This is one of my favorite brushes, the Cakey brush. I enjoy using it. It has lost a few hairs, but who hasn't, you know? My other favorite foundation brush is actually a one from Rare Beauty. They do advertise this, which is the Selena Gomez line. This is more pointy, which is kind of cool when you want to apply your foundation in the crevices of your nose and maybe even closer to your eyes. When I just run out, I don't apply the concealer because I really don't have dark circles. Like, I'm not gonna start piling stuff on around my eyes if I don't really need to. I have a little bit of darkness over here, but I mean, yeah, I don't really have a lot. If I do apply a concealer, sometimes I'll do it just to brighten up this area. And if I want to shape my face a certain way, I will do that. The other one I do enjoy also is the It Cosmetics. Did you hear my accent? It Cosmetics. They make really good brushes, but they are on the pricier side. Very soft. This is a smaller-ish brush, but it's still cool. So I'm just going to use the cookie brush. Maybe camera got out again. Okay, anyway, let's see if we can kind of fix it, right? I have my foundation mixed on my little hearty heart here, and I mixed up the Clinique even better, and I am going to put it on a cookie brush. It is very good. Like I said, it sheds a few hairs, but you know, who doesn't? And then I just apply it all over my skin. And I already had one coat put on because my camera cut out, because that's how it is right now until I get that part figured out. And I stipple it all over my face. I make sure that I push it into my skin, especially the parts where I know my pores are a little bit bigger. I push it in those parts specifically. Now, I put too much foundation. I don't know if you can see it, but I did. I got a little bit overzealous here, a little bit excited to show you guys what it looks like, and I have completely covered my skin up. I don't know how I managed to take this foundation that is super light and make it a little bit too much, but guess what? I did it on purpose. You know why? Because I'm going to show you how you can even out using the sponge at the end after you applied it with the brush, and you just bounce your sponge all over your face. And what it does is it pushes in your foundation a little bit more into your skin, so it actually absorbs some of the extra foundation that you may have. And I bounce it. I enjoyed this particular shape of the blender because you can just really hold it and work with it well. Pardon my chipped nail. And you also have this other part that actually you can use when you want to get really close into the eye area. Again, I don't particularly use a lot of concealer because I don't have real dark circles under my eyes. And I find that when I do use the concealer, pardon me as I pick another piece of dead skin off of my face. Did I say that it's important to exfoliate? Yeah, so I just bounce it around, push it into my skin further, create a very even look. Do it with this part around my nose and on my forehead. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I will find after I put makeup on, it'll like gather around my eyebrows, and then it tries to like form a Brezhnev, things will slide. So I make sure that I don't have any extra makeup living up there. And generally I do like getting my eyes done first before putting on foundation, because if I'm using eyeshadows that have a little bit of a fallout, I can just have a nice flawless foundation and not have to clean up those colors, you know what I mean? So I bounce around the mouth, around the chin. I also do it right behind the ears and around your jawline so that you don't end up having a line. I've been sitting home too much, I'm sorry. Oh God. Oh, okay. So there's that. And I have to tell you, it looks flawless. Shall I zoom you in, my darlings? Ooh, can you see how it is just so well pushed into my skin? Now let's zoom you out, because I'm sure I just scared you and you need to go and get your blankie. I need to apply a little bit of the powder. Why do you need powder? You need to set this makeup so it doesn't slide around. Powder is also amazing at blurring effect, so that when you put a powder on, you will notice that your skin just looks a lot more even and a lot blurred. Filter. So what I'm gonna do is I already put very little powder, like I said, because it dries me out and I have to be super careful. So I put about this much powder into my little bowl, and I am using this translucent no color powder that I mentioned earlier that was recommended by Goss. And I have two really amazing brushes that I enjoy using for powder. This is a La Mer brush. It is expensive and honestly not really necessary for powder application. I'm just a brush snob. I think it's the artist in me. I love brushes. But I did find a dupe which I thought was pretty close. It's this guy right here. There's a couple of straggly hairs, but it's still a pretty large brush. This one is just a little bit more rounded. But as far as size and my need for applying it to the powder, they're both fine. I got this on Amazon. I think it's like maybe $14. I'll link it, I'll find it, I'll let you know. And La Mer is expensive. I think I got it on Poshmark because your girl never pays full price for anything. And I think this was like $30. So what I do is I just lightly coat, and then I sweep the product on my skin. I try not to really go in too far around my nose, and then I very, very lightly just push it in around my eyes. I don't want that cakey look. I don't want to like smile to have those lines that look like skid marks in the desert. So I do that, and then what I do is I actually enjoy using Tati Beauty, the soft sponge like applicator. I use it for a lot of different products, but in this particular case I like to push my light powder into my skin just so that it is nice and set, and I have to tell you, it really looks amazing. Let me toot my own horn. Toot toot! This looks good. I am not one of those people who use my eyebrows and create a lot of crinkles and wrinkles on my forehead. So if you are a avid eyebrow mover, I would definitely suggest that you take another run with the powder and just make sure you set those areas so they don't collect foundation. So that's the end of the video. Now, what am I gonna ask you to do? Like, subscribe, comment, check out my site for some new exciting products, support a small business. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you stay forever in bloom. Bye.